Mike and John Got It Going On, a Livingston County-based podcast that's based in, well, Livingston County. And now, Mike and John.
Do we have it going on? We got it going on.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Mike Marino, John King from Mike and John Got It Going On. Happy Monday morning.
Sure, it's happy.
Well, we had some nice temperatures over the weekend. That's going to change this week.
Oh, my God. I mean, I was practically ready to go, what's the pool? Let me lift back this cover. Maybe we can do a little swimming.
You know, I'm glad you brought up the pool thing.
All right.
Well, I know you got GIGO news coming up.
Right.
So I don't want to step on the news. I don't want to steal the news thunder because we've got a lot of local things to cover.
Right.
This is more regarding anybody and everybody and public pools.
Okay.
That's your tease. We'll have that story
after
John King with Got It Going On News.
That's quite a tease.
Brought to you by our friends at Firehouse Doors.
Well, the whole program is.
Well, yeah. But
including the news.
We start off the best with the best.
Oh.
Peeing in the pool? And then John. All right, what's going on?
That doesn't happen. All right. Here's what's going on this morning. A state agency has determined a local nurse did not violate public health codes by her public statements against masks and COVID-19 vaccines. Holly Austin of Howell is a nurse educator with Schoolcraft College who was investigated by the Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs after statements she made during government meetings in Livingston County. During a September meeting of the County Board of Commissioners, Austin, speaking about COVID, said masks do not work and that none of the children should be quarantined because this is not a disease of children who she said should not get vaccinated. Austin's statements stand in stark contrast to guidance from the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention and the American Nurses Association, as well as the American Medical Association. Austin's claims were subsequently criticized publicly by another Howell woman, Casey Elton, who posted a series of tweets in December referring to Austin as a pathetic purveyor of health misinformation. Elton said she planned to file a complaint with the Agency of Regulatory Affairs against Austin, saying she believed her statements were a violation of nursing standards. But in a letter to Elton dated March 3rd, Laura said that after a careful review of the complaint submitted against Austin, they determined that there is not a reasonable basis to believe a violation of the applicable provisions of the Public Health Code and associated rules occurred. Elton declined comment on the decision when she was contacted by GIGO News. A Livingston County car dealership was among those defrauded by a man that federal authorities say used someone's personal identification to secure more than $200,000 in loans to buy vehicles statewide. The Detroit News reports Eddie Earl Hendrickson and another person were charged last week in U.S. District Court in Detroit with conspiring to devise a scheme and artifice to defraud various financial institutions between December of 2019 and February of 2020. An affidavit from a U.S. Secret Service special agent last year said Hendrickson purchased a 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee from Champion Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Brighton after securing a nearly $22,000 auto loan. The affidavit says in March of 2020, a Genesee County Sheriff's Lieutenant contacted the man whose social security number Hendrickson used in the transactions. He has a similar name, but never allowed anyone to use his identification. Federal officials accused the 40-year-old Hendrickson of identity theft, aggravated identity theft, and bank fraud. A hearing is scheduled next week in U.S. District Court. And an event next week in Howell will provide a look at an often neglected part of American history. Cleary University and the Livingston Diversity Council have teamed up to sponsor the Black History 101 Mobile Museum at the Cleary University Student Commons Center, Tuesday, March 15th from 10 till 3. Dr. Khalid El Hakim is the founder and curator of the traveling exhibit, which includes artifacts dating from the transatlantic slave trade to modern day. The event was previously scheduled but had to be postponed due to weather. Dr. El Hakim will also give a lecture in the Commons from 11:30 to 12:30 that day. No registrations required. You'll find details on the Mike and John Facebook page. And that's a look at GIGO News.
The Mike and John Got It Going On Facebook page.
Should I just say the Mike and John GIGO page?
If you'd like, that would work.
Maybe just the GIGO Facebook page.
Let's get to the facts here, fella. You are a news guy.
I just gave the facts. Those are the facts, Jack.
By the way, you can catch us on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, RSS.com, SoundCloud, and
we're on Insta. That's what the kids call it.
Is that what they call it? Insta?
Yeah, Instagram.
And TikTok?
We were on TikTok before.
Just I know, but I'm just saying, if we want to put together a TikTok video, we can do that.
TikTok, my 13-year-old often just belittles our TikTok.
Oh. Well, everybody
He's
does.
like, really, old men? What are you doing? Get out of here.
This is not for you. There should be an age limit on TikTok.
Who let you in here?
Today is National Be Heard Day. This is a day where we dedicate at least acknowledging local small businesses.
Okay.
So over the weekend, we asked, what is your favorite local, small, family-owned business here in Livingston County?
Right.
And some of our answers, we're getting to those as we speak.
Right.
But yeah, we had a lot of folks
thought you had
chiming
this
in.
already. What the hell?
Jonas Market and Jonas Barn Grill was named. Fogs, 2 Fogs.
Black Iron Roasters, Heart of Michigan, Chocolate Boutique, Unicorn One Used Books in Brighton, Alita's Flowers and Gifts in Fowlerville. Let's see.
Alita's such a nice thing.
2 Dandelions Bookshop. They had that 24-hour readathon over the weekend. Lots of people liking that. Culture Beer and Cheese. Several people mentioned that. So I want to...
Culture Beer and Cheese.
Yeah.
I have not been there.
There's like a specialty cheese shop.
Do they have a beer section and a cheese section?
I'm sure they
There's
do.
All kind of what beer? You know how you
I don't
pair
think
up-
there's cheese floating in the beer.
No. But do you pair up certain beers?
Oh,
with
God,
certain
yes.
cheeses?
I'm sure.
You know, kind of like your wine and and meat.
Yeah.
So
Like, what cheese would pair up with, say, a Bud Light Limerita?
that's a good question. Maybe we'll have to call them one day.
Like a
And find-
craft single.
You know, now that you bring up craft singles,
Okay.
You ever have trouble getting the little envelope that it's in?
Yes.
Getting that thing open, sometimes it just does not. It's super glued
Now,
or something.
Kraft actually, if you buy the Kraft, they actually do a pretty good job of making sure the flap comes open.
So-
if you buy the store brand,
All right.
those are the
Great
kind where you're
values.
like, what the get? And then you end up like pressing into the cheese, and then it's stuck to the
Then,
wrapper. And you're
then
like,
you
what?
always have the
Yeah.
cheese into the envelope thing, whatever you call that, the plastic
Right.
envelope.
The struggle is real.
It really is. So thanks to everybody that chimed in for National Be Heard Day, a day where we celebrate small businesses here in America and, of course, Livingston County. And over the weekend, big wrestling tournament down at Ford Field. We talked about this on Friday. I believe it was Thursday or Friday last week, where it was Thursday because the big
Right.
send-off with the parade.
Exactly.
And Sabrina Nauss was one of the big winners over the weekend.
Right. She was one of the state champs, and it was the first time that the girls had their own individual tournament. So yeah, great job. And there were many wrestlers. I know Heartland's Eliana Bomarito, also a state champ. But we're going to talk to Sabrina. She actually had the very first win in the state championship, the individual girls state championship. So very cool. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Sabrina. It's Mike Marino and John King from Mike and John Got It Going On. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Well, congratulations. We wanted to start things off with that. That had to be a fantastic feeling over the weekend.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so 2-time state champ, the first win at the tournament, and girls wrestling. It's starting to grow, apparently. It's not something we hear that much about. So tell us how you got involved in girls wrestling for the Bulldogs and where you started with this.
Actually, I started with a club called the Michigan Mad Cats in South Lyon, and I started because my older brother, who's a senior this year, he started when he was in kindergarten. So I was just always at practice with him because we're really close. We're like 18 months apart. So I was still young, but he was there always. So I was always at their practices, and I was alongside. And so then one day my parents decided to throw me in because I was there, and I think some kid needed a partner. I was like a little kid, and so they threw me in, and then from there I just fell in love with it. And then I switched to Brighton schools, and then that's how I'm with the Brighton Bulldogs right now.
So I got to ask you this. You obviously, there's not that many girls wrestling at Brighton, if any. So you have to practice with the boys, correct?
Yeah, actually last year, my freshman year, there was one other girl, Caitlin Canale, and then this year there was a senior who decided to try it out, Abby. So I mean, there's always been another girl on the team, but I practice with the guys.
And did that seem a little awkward? Did the guys, what was the mood?
I mean, no, actually, I grew up with a lot of the guys. We were all on the same team. So like, I don't know. It was pretty normal for me. I'm pretty normal wrestler. I personally normally wrestle with the guys, and like my brother was my practice partner for majority of the season and last season.
Boy, the family dinners have to be really interesting if a fight breaks out.
Yeah, afterwards got a little heated between us. But no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being able to get like practice with my brother and be able to push each other.
And when you went to the tournament on Friday, the first state girls tournament there at Ford Field, and you had the very first win. I mean, when you went into the ring there, did you at all think at all about, wow, this is the very first one? I really want, obviously you wanted to win, but was that all in your mind that, wow, this is the first match?
Actually, no, it didn't hit me until after. When I was first told, I think like a week before, that was the first match. I was super nervous. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to be the first match because I'm always so used to being like the last ones. And then when we went out there and wrestled the first match after, and I got my first interview, it just to me that was like the first ever match, and that I just made history there.
That's got to be a pretty cool feeling. I did see the interview, and it's you were winded, and you were so I think just kind of overwhelmed, if that's a word for it. But it just seemed like it had just hit you as you were getting into the interview that you had just made history.
Yeah, I didn't think two thoughts about it, just because like I thought of it as like just like another tournament, just go out there and get what I need to get done, and then I didn't think about that until after the first match was over, and I was like, holy cow, that was the very, very first match.
That is pretty cool.
And I guess I just want to ask you, with this being the first girls, tournament now, and this is going to be a regular thing, which it should be. It's kind of opened up a lot of eyes for people that sports that previously didn't seem like, oh, well, that wouldn't be something that girls could compete in
or want to compete in.
But you're proving that is absolutely wrong, and really, there's no sport that girls could not or should not be able to compete in.
Yeah, I think it's crazy to see how much like it's grown from when I was little and seeing more girls at like tournaments, and it's crazy to see how like there's more like little girls into it, and that they want to go out there and wrestle like guys do, and just prove that they should be out there with them. So
where do you go from here? What's in your future?
So now that high school season is over, I go back to my national club team in Highland, Michigan, Rev Girls, and we have a few tournaments lined up, but my next biggest one is World Team Trials.
All right. Wow. So this the team that you're with in Highland, is that kind of like travel sport, like you'd find in baseball or soccer, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so we travel nationally. We have actually a lot of the girls in the finals are a lot of the Rev Girls. We're a pretty close group. We're always taking in new girls, and we just started last year. Like last was our first year traveling together. But it's pretty cool. It's ran by Mario Flores, and we train from after high school season all the way to almost the beginning of high school season, and we go through the girls national events. So like we'll hit a hugest one at the end of the year, which is Fargo. And we hit a bunch of like the nationals and stuff. We hit a bunch of dual team ones.
Well, very cool stuff. Before we let you go, Sabrina, what is your favorite or signature move? Your go-to?
I don't know.
Whatever one wins.
Your favorite move. Everybody. It's like a pitcher has a favorite pitch.
Well, don't give away trade secrets here, don't you?
I honestly, I don't know.
The pin for the win?
I like to throw a lot. But I don't know if I have a favorite.
Okay. All right. I just thought I'd throw it out there because some people have like their favorite player, move, or pitch, or whatever it is. But no, congratulations! It was exciting to see, and good to see somebody from here in Livingston County be the first to win at the girls tournament for wrestling here in the state of Michigan. Congratulations!
Thank you.
All right, Sabrina, we'll let you get back to your morning. We appreciate you checking in today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right, thanks. It's Mike and John got it going on here on this Monday. You brought up pools.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
And we were talking about pool season. I was just looking outside as the ice melted off my cover of my pool this weekend, and I thought, yeah, it's not going to be long before we're opening up that pool. And then I saw this survey that 1 in 5 of us,
all right,
1 in 5 people, survey of adults, by the way, have peed in a pool.
I already told you about Cancun and the swim-up bar.
See, but that's a little different. You're at
Is it though? Is it really? It's still peeing in the pool.
If you're at a pool,
Okay.
in a club, whether it's your neighborhood or your backyard, there's a bathroom around somewhere.
But if you don't see people getting out of the pool for any kind of regular interval, come on now.
On
And
average,
they're drinking a lot. Like I'm seeing liquid being consumed.
in the pool.
I don't see it, necessarily. I don't see any.
You don't see the
opportunities.
return process.
Yeah,
is what you're saying. They say 8 gallons of pee in a 110,000 gallon pool. That's
God.
18 and a half gallons of pee for a pool that has 220,000 gallons.
Right.
So your average public pool.
Now,
That's a lot of pee.
It is a lot of pee. Now, when we have like kids over, like little kids come over, if family or whatever, and they bring their little kids, like I just assume they're little kids. Okay, it's just an assumption that someone's going to pee in the pool. So you do a little extra shock. You get a little extra shock afterwards.
After
Yeah. And that's okay. When it's all adults, you're like, really? Really, you lazy piece of get out of my pool!
Now I'm going to have to add double the shock because the people are bigger and they can hold more.
Yeah.
It's time for our community spotlight this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not.
No, it's not. I was just going
time
to say,
for-
wow,
I'm sorry.
you're jumping the gun on this.
I was jumping the gun.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I didn't mean to jump the
Well,
gun.
no, don't jump the gun. Mother Superior jumped the gun. Sorry, Beatle reference.
Yes, it was.
But as you mentioned, we just signed up on Insta.
Yes, tell us about Insta. 'Cause
Instagram.
I know it's Instagram.
Everyone's on Instagram.
So
I
what are
don't
we
get.
gonna do?
This is how old I am, and like you needed proof. Hello. But yes.
It's too bad he's been married for
Well,
couple
yes.
decades.
Sorry, ladies. Off the market.
OTM.
Market's closed. But
Goes lower today.
just way lower. It's a run on the bank.
Yes.
But yeah. So Instagram, I it's been around for a while and
Right.
obviously very popular. It started out as strictly like a photo socials, thing, and it mostly still is visuals,
So people
photos,
can
and videos.
follow us on Instagram.
They can follow us
if
on
we
Instagram.
put stuff on Instagram.
And it's Mike and John, the number 4 podcast. Now, here's the thing. When I was signing up, because I'm Instagram, I'm like, well, we should probably be on Instagram. All right, so.
Got to be hip with the kids.
And I was at a
John.
family function. I'm sort of off in the corner. And
He's
I'm like,
bored.
I'm just like, I'll just look
Why
like
did
I'm
they
busy.
bring him? He's always on his
No, they're
phone.
like, good. Let him, go over there. Anyway, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to sign us up for Instagram. And so I'm trying out different names. And I go, well, first of all, Mike and John got it going on. It's like, nope, won't take it. Okay,
Somebody
sure.
already have that?
I don't know. It just
They
said,
better
nope,
not.
nope, can't use it. All
All
right,
right.
fine. So then I'm like, all right, Mike and John for the win. Because
All right.
our email address is mikeandjohn4thewin@gmail.com. I'm like, oh, that'll work. Nope. I'm like, all right, Mike and John podcast.
Now, can we pause here
Nope.
for a second?
What?
My guess is that after trying these 2 or 3 logins, John got a little upset, started swearing at his phone.
No,
No?
it's okay.
Okay.
I was
Did
fine.
you have a few drinks in you then?
Well, no, as a family. Or
Okay, little kids were
Keep it
around.
together.
Yeah, there was right. Little,
Had to keep
little
it
nieces
together.
and nephews were around.
I mean, I was like, maybe combo.
He's mumbling to
What do you
himself.
know?
Oh, there's old Uncle John in the corner.
Friggin'.
Okay, so we made it onto Instagram.
So finally, I tried, all the ones that made sense.
Sure.
And then I think out of frustration, I just put Mike and John 4 podcast. And it was like, yep, that's the one. And I'm like,
All right.
what?
Well, there we go.
Okay.
We have to write
So-
that down. So
and
I
then
don't
I thought,
forget.
well, does that make sense? And I'm like, you know what, though? I like that. It's a signature,
Mike and John for podcast.
Mike and John for podcast.
We would have put for radio, but radio's dead.
The radio is dead.
Just so you know.
yeah.
All right.
Just tune in.
So we made it onto Instagram. Did you put anything up there?
Yeah, I put a few posts.
You put some posts. So it's
Yeah.
it's similar to Facebook. for
They're
those
more
that-
introductory posts right now. And then
we say
we
hi
will
there?
expand our beachhead into Instagram. I'm making
He's going to do this.
This doesn't work on the podcast.
Ooh.
You can't see my hand movements right now. But
Okay. Not on Instagram.
no. Well, if I put them on Instagram.
Well, there we go.
Because it's
Okay.
a visual.
Just checking.
I'm talking about for the podcast. See,
For the podcast.
These microphones go to the podcast.
Yes, and that microphone goes to the,
So, well,
the video.
that's over there. That's just the crappy
I see.
video that people look at us and they go,
Oh, gosh.
"Are these? Where are they?
Look at all that gray hair.
Are they in a bunker in Ukraine? What is going
We
on
are
over
in
there?"
the groovy little hippie
Yeah, I
pod
know.
pad.
Okay.
That's where
Right.
we're at.
And I don't know if you noticed the I put up the Van Halen post.
Last week's post.
Right, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah.
Could put up a little higher. Just saying.
Yeah.
You know, the lunch boxes are kind of blocking stuff.
Well, I think it's good there. You don't like it, you move it.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
You might close this.
Before we get to our community spotlight, NBC has announced a new competition reality show titled $1 Million Island.
Okay.
$1 Million Island. Now, it's not a love thing like The Bachelor
Right.
and whatever other Bachelorettes.
How do you get $1 million?
100 contestants attempt to stay on this remote desert island for up to 50 days. Each contestant is given a bracelet worth $10,000. Contestants then lose or gain bracelets after taking part in challenges. So if you and I competed in something and I won, I would get your bracelet.
Right.
Thus another $10,000.
So can you just cash in the first day they land you? They just go, I'm quitting. Here's my $10,000.
No, when a player's eliminated, they will get to choose the person that actually gets.
Oh, you
the
don't.
bracelet.
Oh, you.
I wouldn't win it
because that's
from
what
you.
I would do.
But-
Day one, I'm like $10,000. I'm done here. I'll see you at the Hyatt.
And at the end, whoever has the
Right.
most bracelets or wins all
They-
the bracelets,
they
they
could
get
win
the
a-
$1
I
million
see.
prize.
Okay.
So that's the new game show
Right.
on NBC.
Okay.
Now you
So
know.
Are people going to be like hurting each other? Is it going to be like a Lord of the Flies situation where
It
they're
could be
like
pretty
ambushing
fun.
people and
It could be.
All right. Well,
All right. Are we ready for today's
I don't know.
community
Are we? Yeah, I think we are.
spotlight?
Are we?
I guess. I'm asking you. You got the info.
It's Monday. I don't know. All right, our community spotlight sponsored by Jordan Genso with the Genso team at Remax Platinum, a real estate professional with 15 years experience serving Livingston County and a passion for building our community. It is a strange housing market right now. I can attest to that. Jordan, though, loves helping his clients explore all their options, including ideas that less experienced agents may not be familiar with. So even if you're not looking to buy or sell at the moment, you just want an expert who can answer your questions, give Jordan a call, 248-444-9777. Of course, Jordan, sponsor of our Community Spotlight segment.
And today, for those of you that remember us from the radio station, you may remember Sue Masick, who used to run the front desk.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, John. Sue's husband, John,
Yeah.
and Sue are a big part of the Livingston area pet pantry, and John's going to tell us a little about that. Morning, John.
Morning.
All right.
Mike. Morning, John.
Hey, how you doing today?
Voices again?
Yeah, you as well. It's been a long time, and last time actually John and I saw you, I think it was right before or during the holiday season, and you and your wife Sue were downtown in Brighton and may or may not have had a couple of dogs on hand.
But they did.
They always
always
have
do.
dogs on hand. That's why this ties in so nice with the Livingston Area Pet Pantry. Tell us a little about that.
Sure. The Livingston Area Pet Pantry was formed in 2011, back as we were coming out of the Great Recession. People were at that time trying to get rid of their, some people who couldn't afford animals were unfortunately giving them up to the Livingston Humane Society.
Right.
And so there was a partnership formed between the Humane Society, Gleaners, and a newly formed charity called the Livingston Area Pet Pantry. There were several ladies, among them Nancy Nate, Gayla Reuter-Alm, and Nicole Clark, who got together and said, if we can make sure that people who can't afford to feed their pets can get pet food, then there are going to be less animals being given up to the Humane Society. So they started collecting food and donations, and it basically bought food and put it at Gleaners facilities so that someone who is going to Gleaners for people food could then pick up food for their cat or dog. And it's kind of blossomed since then. Probably the peak was in 2015 through 18 when we were cumulatively donating somewhere in the area of 40 to 45,000 pounds of food per year. But overall, during the last 10 years, going into the 11th year, over 300,000 pounds of pet food has been distributed throughout Livingston County to people in need who can't afford to feed their animals.
That's amazing. I was just, as you were telling the story about this, thinking about, when the pandemic first hit, a lot of people ended up adopting pets, whether it be a cat or a dog that's companion. They're working from home now, or they were at that time, and now some are getting back to work. Are we starting to see some of those animals going back into the shelters, or is a program like the Pet Pantry helping out?
Yeah, well, I think Sue and I went to Michigan, Maine, in Howell at the start of the pandemic, and one of the things we saw, there were actually very few dogs because they were being adopted. But in talking to other people now, shelters are starting to fill up again, and people are struggling again. Inflation and a lot of other things that are happening out there. People are some people just cannot afford to feed their animals. So one of the things that the pandemic kind of did is that gleaners, couldn't really have people come in from the pet pantry to stock the shelves. They were trying to keep exposure down, and that was part of their protocol. So the pet pantry has it reinvented itself. What we're doing now is a couple of the primary volunteers that work more often than Sue or I do, they're keeping food stored in their garages. And they're doing two things. One, they're letting their people come, regulars that are coming either weekly or monthly, and they can come to the garage and pick up a bag of food or whatever they need. Or for those people who don't have transportation, we're running food out to their homes and delivering them. And we're right now doing that for dozens of families in Livingston County. So, I think the Pet Pantry's done a nice job of adapting to the changes brought on by COVID.
Yeah, and I guess, as you mentioned, this effort began kind of coming out of the Great Recession and putting this all together. And I think for many people, we think about, we need to help people that are in need with their whatever their needs are. And yet we know that our pets are members of our family, and that people aren't going to neglect their pets. And that you hate to have people in a position where they have to decide between, do I take care of my pet? Do I make sure my pet has food? Or do I pay this bill? Or so on. And so to provide that peace of mind for people that, you can take care of your family member, your loved one. We're going to make sure that happens so that, you can focus on other things and not have to worry about that aspect. I just think that's so important, what you guys are doing there at the Livingston Area Pet Pantry, because like I said,
they're part of our family.
They're family members, and they're loved ones, and we want to make sure that they're taken care of.
Right. Well, I agree. They're definitely part of our family for sure. We've had, we're on number 6 and number 7 golden retrievers, so I know I'm at least 4th in the pecking order in the family.
The dog's going to get fed. Both of them are going to get fed before you, John.
No question. Loved, whatever, all that kind of good stuff, doggy kisses. For families right now, some of the downside is people who can't afford to feed their animals. Right. Sometimes they're feeding them their own food. Right. Yeah. And people food long term is not very good for dogs. It doesn't give them the proper nutrition that they need to be, to survive, and therefore dogs are becoming in poor health sometimes if they just don't have access to food. So that's one of the things that the Pet Pantry also helps people, making sure that the health of their pets is also maintained by making sure they get good nutritional food as often as they need it for as many dogs or cats as they might have. Yeah,
absolutely. And so at this point, does the Pet Pantry, do you need volunteers? Do you need donations? Do you need money, or all of the above?
Kind of all of the above. I would be honest and say probably money works the best, because the Pet Pantry has in the past partnered with people like the Pet Supplies Plus or other pet food stores who allow them to purchase food at a discounted rate. Right. And so they can probably buy food a little bit cheaper than you or I can at the grocery store. But certainly we have a lot of donations when we do our fundraiser every year. We get lots of families who give us bags of food and do a great job in terms of last year, I think, for instance, my wife and I, we raised $2,600 in cash. Wow. And another 650 pounds of food. Wow. So food is nice because we can donate that and distribute it right away. But that $2,600 probably buys 10,000 pounds of food. And one of the things that happened over the last couple of years because of the pandemic is the donations were down dramatically. We only were able to distribute about 15,000 pounds of food the last 2 years. So there's a huge need, and we're starting to get more and more families who need it, and we're getting closer to running low or running out of food. So I would say right now donations are the thing that we could probably use the most.
So for folks who...
Anybody wants... Go ahead.
I was going to say, for folks who want to take action and help out, how do they do that?
Sure. So you can go on the website, which is LivingstonAreaPetPantry.org. That's probably the best way. There's a PayPal option there, and I believe a credit card option. If you need to, certainly you can. There's several donation centers around town. I know that the Doghouse in Brighton is one, and they'll have little canisters, and some of the veterinary clinics have them as well, and some of the pet food stores where you can drop a $5 or $10 bill in there, and that money will go to LAPP, Livingston Area Pet Pantry, and be used to put to good use in buying food. Of course, the other thing you could do is do something like my wife and I did, is start your own little volunteer fundraiser. We do a fundraiser every year. Bushes in Brighton has been really good. Last year we had probably 75 people come by, and we had a little booth out there, and of course I had my two little sales ladies who were eager to lick and get petted, so that kind of helped soften people up a little bit.
It's kind of like a licking booth, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, they'll give you definitely kisses, that's for sure, if you let them. But no, it's been kind of a labor of love for she and I to get involved. We've met a lot of neighbors. We've met a lot of people who, it's great because dog people, are great people in terms of donating, and any time that they can see an opportunity to help out other animals, they're going to do that. So, if you can volunteer on your own, if you can participate by giving a donation to the pet pantry or stopping by Bushes, we've got an October 1st date. I think we're going to be doing it again this year, and it's a good time for us. We get a lot out of it, and I think you will too if you donate.
All right, John, we appreciate you joining us this morning. The Livingston Area Pet Pantry, definitely a worthy cause. We'll have all the details on our Mike and John Got It Going On page too. Say hi to Sue for us, John. Thanks again.
All right, Mike. Thanks, John.
Yep.
I definitely will, and good luck to you guys in your new setup here. We're enjoying listening.
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course, our Community Spotlight. See you, John. Community Spotlight brought to you by Jordan Genso with the Genso team at Remax Platinum for sponsoring our Community Spotlight. You can give them a call today at 248-444-9777. Find them on Facebook at Jordan Genso Community Servant, Community Realtor.
Yeah. So, very cool. Again, LivingstonAreaPetPantry.org. And on Facebook as well.
Well, I know in the past, we've had some stuff, and some of the things that are needed, I know, from the Humane Society, or even things like old towels or rags, things to clean up. So if you had that stuff, rather than throwing it in a landfill, or you have a pet that has passed, and you have something to donate, the Humane Society, great place to make those donations too. Sometimes you pull up and you see there's a lot of stuff put up there. And they send volunteers there to take care of that stuff too. So lots of ways to help out for pet owners and pet lovers.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thank you to John and Sue and all the folks over there at the Livingston Area Pet Pantry. He mentioned Gayla Ruder-Ohm and Nancy Mate, the key volunteers over there, but everyone pitching in and doing their part.
We'd also like to thank Mike Witt and Firehouse Doors, of course, major sponsor of Mike and John Got It Going On. Here on our podcast, we were getting into our 4th week here, and we've had a lot of folks reach out, but the first to do so were Firehouse Doors, and we definitely appreciate their work that they do, their support, and we even put up a community spotlight for them over the weekend.
Yeah.
So if you get a chance, check that out on the Mike and John Got It Going On page.
Right,
we with Mike.
We talked to Mike last week about the shortage when it comes to garage doors, and he had some good tips. So we put him in our advertiser spotlight over the weekend. And for anyone else that wants to be a supporter of this program, of course, we would love to hear from you. You can email us at mikeandjohn4thewin, that's the number 4, at gmail.com. And you can reach out to us. Other folks, we had a tremendous response to Venmo, which we put out there last week, because we'd heard from so many people that said, I want to support the program. Not necessarily going to sponsor anything, but I want to see you continue what you guys are doing. Whether it's local news, highlighting great groups like the Livingston Area Pet Pantry, and just having some fun in the morning on a daily basis. And we had a tremendous response on Venmo. And if you want to just whatever you think might be something that would be worthwhile to you, you can just go to Venmo, and it's Mike and John Podcast. Again, thank you to everyone that stepped up, and all of those funds are going to be used to support the program and upgrade, and then soon we'll have an empire, and then we will cut. Oh, sorry.
We'll patch the hole in the wall that's in front of us.
We got to start.
Got to keep the water from coming in. Yeah, we're starting small. Actually, we're working toward a website and some other things that are going to be pretty exciting. So we're looking forward to it and appreciate all the support of those that view us on our various locations, whether it be Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Your Mama's 8-Track, SoundCloud, or RSS.com.
I just like the idea of people searching. They keep saying this Yo Mama's 8-Track, and I don't see it.
I remember seeing it when I was little, but not anymore. We were talking about surveys, and a recent survey of adults again. And this isn't about peeing in the pool like we were talking before. No, we're talking food.
Oh, no.
And we love to talk about food as American adults. 65%
we like to eat it too.
Say their favorite foods for breakfast are in order: cereal, eggs, waffles, pancakes, French toast, bagels.
Okay.
These are all the things that we love. Bacon can be included with any one of those.
Yeah, you're right.
But those are the foods, too, that we like to have for dinner as well. So we really enjoy having breakfast for dinner.
Oh, I mean...
I do that all the time.
Breakfast for dinner is a real thing, man.
It kind of... maybe not pancakes for dinner so often or waffles, but eggs,
use the microwave.
Cereal.
the toaster kind.
Toaster
kind.
That's
fine.
Sure. What's for dinner? Eggos. Or the knockoff ones.
Dinner's ready.
So kind of cool stuff. We also want to thank everybody that joined in on our National Be Heard Day, which salutes local businesses. If you go to our Mike and John Got It Going On Facebook page, you can reply to that or check out some of the answers. And mentioning a lot of local businesses that the mom and pop type shops, the ones that are small, just doing business here, no big box stores, and a lot of great suggestions too. You may need an idea for dinner one of these days, or a place to go to get your nails done. Or,
absolutely.
Or chocolate and the one for beer and cheese too, which we may have to look into. I have not been there.
Culture, beer, and cheese.
Culture, beer, and cheese.
Or culture, cheese, and beer.
Is it cheese and beer? We could change the name of this show.
Oh.
Your cheese on beer. Okay.
I'll go with that.
It's March 7th. It is National Cereal Day. It's as we get into our 2-cent history lesson. Is that okay?
It is okay.
I got to make sure it's okay because you're in charge.
Well,
that's
there went that
funny,
empire.
It's Alexander Graham Bell Day. He received a patent for the telephone on this day in 1876.
All right.
He really couldn't call anybody because he's the only one who had a phone.
Well, he got the patent.
He got the
today,
patent for it,
but he invented it early, and that's one where he said, "Mr. Watson or whatever, come in here,
bring me some beer and cheese,
bring me a crap."
Yeah, he
single.
received the patent for the telephone on this day, 1876,
and he beat out Elijah Gray, who also had invented a similar device, but he
sprinted to the patent.
Bell got to the patent office first. Yeah. So,
1962, the Beatles recorded their first radio appearance at the Playhouse Theatre, Manchester, in Home, Manchester, for the BBC radio program. Teenager's Turn, Here We Go was what it was called. After rehearsal, the Beatles put on suits for the first time. Their familiar suits. Those were cool.
Yeah.
I always wanted a pair of Beatle boots, too.
Brian Epstein saying, class it up a little bit, will you, boys?
Yes. Instead of wearing those leather jackets and looking like a bunch of hoodlums. Rolling Stones have that covered. Elton John was immortalized in wax at Madame Tussauds Museum in London. The first rock star since the Beatles to be done in wax.
Okay. Since the Beatles. So the Beatles were first, and then 10 years later, probably Elton John.
Right, 1976.
Wow.
It was a sad day in 2011 on this day as Charlie Sheen was fired from 2.5 Men.
The show is just not the same. Actually, it was still pretty funny. But
it had that change.
Right.
And, it's usually most shows.
I mean, Ashton Kutcher was, he was no Charlie Sheen.
No, he wasn't.
But it was still funny. I still enjoyed the show those last couple seasons.
Yeah, it was all right. Although Jake was almost a man by then. I thought Berta was really the one that stole the show the most often.
Right.
It was on this day in 2012. Sales of albums by the Beatles soared following the death of Davy Jones.
You mean the Monkees?
Oh, the Monkees, I'm sorry. Yeah. Best of the Monkees re-entered the Billboard album charts at number 20. Sales of over 17,000 units.
It's been 10 years since Davy Jones passed?
Yeah.
Has it really been 10
It's
years?
been 10 years.
Oh my God.
Davy Jones. Remember when he came out of the Brady Bunch?
Oh,
took
yeah.
Marcia to prom.
It's because I'm short, isn't it?
So yeah, no, I always enjoyed the Monkees. That was one of the first albums that was a hand-me-down from my cousins.
Right.
And they were like, "Oh, we've moved on to cooler things now,
Right.
like Led Zeppelin and stuff." So I had the Monkees and the Monkees' second album,
And
more of the Monkees.
What was the Monkees, the dummy on the show? What was his name? We just talked about this not too long ago.
In another life.
world.
Yeah. Ashton Kutcher's filling in for us now.
No.
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 The dummy's name wasn't
there's
Heine?
the new. No,
that was
Get
Smart.
Smart.
No. Mr. Wigglesworth or something.
You were close.
Like
You almost said Mr. Schneider.
Mr. Schneider.
Yeah,
the dummy.
that was the dummy.
Yeah. If only we could get our hands on that dummy.
Well.
And it could be two men and a dummy.
See, another great name for this podcast we didn't choose.
Well, we didn't have a dummy except for what do you want to call Mike and the dummy?
Well, we got a couple dummies down here, and you know
we do.
I think
Should we
couple
go to
dummies right here?
Hey, before we wap things up, should we go to the poster pantry?
No, that's exclusive YouTube content.
Oh, that's right.
fella.
I'm sorry.
We don't. We don't
just
do
every-
that.
not
you
just
know,
every
before we wrap
podcast.
things up, we've got to give the proper shout out to our show sponsor, Firehouse Doors.
We certainly do. Firehouse Doors, of course, located here in Livingston County. They've been serving the community for over 24 years. Family-owned and operated business, striving to treat each and every family customer like one John King, like family. Yes, they let him in. A big salute because Mike is a veteran-owned business. Mike served in the U.S. Air Force and was deployed to Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. I want to thank Mike and Firehouse Doors for stepping up to be a big part of our broadcast or podcast here. Your one-stop shop for residential, commercial, and rolling sheet overhead doors. So give them a call today.
Rolling Steel.
Rolling Steel.
Yeah.
Did I say Rolling Stones?
You said Rolling Sheet.
Rolling Sheets.
Well,
That's
sheets
a
of
whole
steel.
Sheets of steel. That's how they
Steel.
come.
Sheets of Steel. Another great name for a podcast we didn't use. Damn it.
That's her superhero.
Yeah.
Sheets of Steel.
Sheets of Steel.
Call Mike and the gang today, 810-599-7480 for all your garage door, overhead door needs.
And until April 1st,
Yes.
tell them Mike and John sent you. And
They
you
won't
get-
hold it against you.
No.
They'll give you 5% off.
Oh, yeah. No exclusions
All right.
apply.
All right.
So very cool for that. So, all right.
Hey, what do we have coming up tomorrow?
I don't know.
You should.
Tune in tomorrow. We'll find out.
Your guess is as good as ours.
Yeah, obviously.
We got a plan. We do have a plan.
We do.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Well, we'll see if it comes together tomorrow. All right. We're in the post-show exclusive YouTube content portion now.
It's called After the Pod.
It's after the after the pod. Okay.
After
All right,
the potty.
so what are we doing?
After the potty. You know,
Another
like
great
the
name.
after potty.
Damn it.
The after potty. Poddy. You want me to?
I mean, it's up to you.
I can
We
go
don't
to
have to do that
I
every
can
time.
go to the poster bin.
Right.
Or I can pick out a CD and get the story.
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's like Paul Harvey.
What's the rest of the story?
rest of the
I can give you a story about the poster or the CD. It's up to you.
No, we're going. Let's go CD today.
Okay.
Talk to the group.
I mean, the story about the CD, it may not just, I bought that one day. I don't know. That could be the story. I have no idea.
All right.
You go behind the curtain there, like the Wizard of Oz. All right, what do you got?
Hi there. I'm back
Are you going to hold it up? Okay. you
with
hold
today's CD of choice.
it up. All right. Oh,
Jackson Brown, Holdout.
Yeah.
Looks like it was scanned at one time or stolen.
No, that's a full purchase. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't steal that one.
$7.99.
Wow, you paid $7.99 for this.
My wife is a huge Jackson Brown fan.
It's in pretty good shape too.
As a matter of fact, I want to show you just how big a Jackson.
How big
Brown,
a Jackson fan is
Jackson Brown?
Jackson 5,
Hold on.
Jackson Brown.
Hold on.
Jackson Brown was not one of the Jackson 5, just so you know. Oh boy, this one has an accompaniment.
All right. Yes, it does. Quite
Here we
the
go.
story here.
There we go.
All right.
Not only did he buy the CD.
We have a signed Jackson Brown, framed and signed, by Jackson Brown.
Yeah.
Because, see.
Yeah, that's
And
pretty
it
nice.
says to John and Carolyn.
Yeah.
And my wife, just a major Jackson Brown fan.
Yeah.
And so when I got together with her, I naturally became a major Jackson Brown fan.
That's how I won her
'Cause I
heart.
had-
I love Jackson
I
Brown.
had to.
Somebody's
Actually, though,
baby was my
I already
favorite.
liked Jackson Brown.
Yeah, you were like
You know,
somebody's
but
baby.
she got me more into
Pastime
Jackson
original.
Brown. And then at one point we got to go backstage and meet him. Very nice guy. Yeah. And we got that poster signed, and then we had it framed, and now it sits in the basement gathering dust.
True fans.
We had it up at one point, then we moved. It was like, all right.
Yeah, shove that in a corner.
And it's
over
like,
there.
all right, hey, we've grown up. We have kids now. We can't,
Well,
so
you know-
she's like, could you just keep your posters and stuff in this room here?
There is a poster law that I'm going to share only with our After the Potty
Okay.
viewers.
This is a long after the podcast.
It really. This is an
Sorry.
extended.
Yeah.
This is like a raver.
Extended version.
It's a rage
You're
ad.
so lucky.
If you're over 25,
Okay.
your posters, if they're going to be put on a wall,
Right.
need to be framed. That's what I've been told.
That I would agree that that's
now
true.
you know.
Yeah.
You can't just tack it up
No.
like this. If you're over 25,
Emotionally or physically?
mentally,
Mentally, yeah.
we'll let you figure that
Still
out.
14.
And we'll see you next time. You want me to hit the button?
Hit the button. Bye.